Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Push Start. My name is Andy and I'll be taking you through the tips and tools that will help you get started with your productivity. Remember, here we try to make productivity much more approachable. And who are we focusing on today? We are focusing on varsity students, or should we call it tertiary Thursdays? Yeah, I think that's good. Tertiary Thursdays. So it applies whether you're in varsity, college, or any other form of higher education. And what are we talking about here today? We are talking about what to do, the 5 things that you need to do in your final year to position yourself for good experience during your final year and also a stress-free experience after it. So let's get right into it. Okay, now guys, before we get into the tips, right, I just want to talk about something. Now, I know there's a situation right now in South Africa, specifically on funding for final year students. I mean, I was in the same situation and I know how stressful that is, not only for you, but also for your family and people that truly care about you. So if you're a final year student and you have a funding problem that you have, I do not have the money currently, but we can get some exposure if this video was helpful for you, but you're also doing some kick-ass stuff, but you don't know where your next bit of money towards your schooling is going to come from. Do leave a link to your GoFundMe campaign or your social media where you share the kick-ass stuff that you're doing in your tertiary. Post your results, post whatever, and then every tertiary Thursday that we have will have links down below of people that are doing awesome stuff. It could be in the video, it could be down. I'm still new to this YouTube thing, but whatever that we can do in order to make sure that students graduate without any debt is just enough. We need to do more of that. So I don't know how I'm going to make this happen. If you have suggestions, if you're good in marketing, please do let me know. But every video, we're just going to write that down and make sure that people are funded. Now, if you're watching this video in the future and the people are already okay and they're sorted, hoping that they are, please do note and make a note of that. Maybe check the accounts of the GoFundMes before you actually do that. Now, also as well, disclaimer, any legal affiliations I do not have. I'm just trying to help out. So any risk, that's basically on your part. But let's get into the tips. Let's get right into it. Now, the first thing that you need to do in your tertiary career. Now, this video was requested by a good friend of mine, Tumelo. He knows because he's been requesting for me to cover something like this for a while. Now, he asked specifically for engineering students, but I think these tips can apply across the board for final year students in any career at any level of qualification, right? But the first one, you need to start thinking about yourself as a professional in that career already. So you need to start seeing yourself as a doctor. You need to start seeing yourself as an artisan. You need to start seeing yourself as an engineer, as a history study person, or whatever is out there, right? You really need to start thinking and start carrying yourself as a person that does that. So you might need to read about what people do in your field, right? The productivity habits that apply in your field, things that put you ahead of the curve. Why? Because when you're doing your projects, right, and this is something I shared with Matrix as well, when you're doing your projects, you're doing assignments, your group projects, it allows you to operate at a higher frequency, at a higher level, right, than most of your peers. Because why? You are now acting like the person that is already in that field. Now, this is going to lead me to the second one. Now, the second one here, in order for you to do the first one, and that is to treat yourself as a professional, you need to act professionally, right? This is something that I also made a mistake with, and that is you need to get rid of all the bad habits that you have accumulated across your varsity years. Now, we know there's a lot, and that could be a video on its own, but an example of which is being that group member that is there but not there, right? But is only there when the marks are supposed to be distributed. If you're a professional in your field, you should definitely not do that. And I agree, no one likes those type of people. So you, even in your networking, which we'll get into shortly, it will really hurt your position right there, because no one someone likes a coaster, someone that is just chilling and only comes through when marks are supposed to be distributed. Another thing as well is a leecher, right? You know those people in varsity. This could be a whole video on another level where you are like taking from other people, but you never think to yourself, hey, what can I contribute to that other person's life? Maybe they're good in this subject, I'm good in that subject, right? But I need help from them. Instead of just taking and expecting for them to actually give you, maybe think, maybe that guy loves ABC. Let me see how I can help them in this, so that it's a mutual relationship and it makes it easier for them to help you, and it makes it easy for you to build a relationship. Remember, do not do this. Don't text a guy that is, or a girl that is good in your class about a certain subject only when you need help and you've never talked to them and you never offered anything of any value. Not that it's transactional, but if you're going into it expecting something, then it's not going to help. So these are the type of habits that hold you back in your final year, because you might be in need of help, but you might be making it hard for people to help you. So let's get into the third one. Now guys, I'm sorry for the last bit there. That was a rant on its own, because you really need to be a pleasant person in order for you to make a relationship work, which leads to the third tip, and that is learn how to be a good networker. In fact, network now before you need whatever that you're networking for. Now, disclaimer here, you don't only network for a job. You also want to be part of a community in your career that you're in your final year for. So this applies to people that are in varsity, college, apprenticeships, any type of form of training that are there in their final year. You need to start networking now. And I know there are barriers to say that what makes a good networker? I'm not even experienced. Why should I begin networking? The world is your oyster right now, and you can reach out to pretty much anyone. And what makes a good networker is someone that participates in a mutually beneficial relationship. I'll repeat that, a mutually beneficial relationship. So whoever that you're networking into, you need to bring something of value. Now, an example of this, because at Push Start, we are all about practicality and actionable things, where after the end of the video, you can put these things into practice. In 2016, I was at a point in time where I lacked funding for the primary career that I was doing, and I was also disenchanted. I didn't like it anymore because there was a lot of stress. But after I sorted out all those things, everything became okay. Thankful for that. But at that time, I started learning more about entrepreneurship, and I reached out to someone that was actually practicing it. And I went on and I emailed them. I'm like, hey, I actually like what you're doing here. Can I come to the office? And I know that you're a busy person, so anything that you need to do, admin, I'm there. If it's files, it's coffee, it's whatever, I'm there. I'm going to be there and make your day easier. I'm not going to talk a lot. Maybe I might ask for like a 30-minute session to contact something, but I'm just going to be there and help you and make your day easy. And then I just want to find out how you got where you are. What tips do you have for someone that is in a position like I am today? And then maybe if you like that experience for that one day, maybe I could come for a week. And that's what I ended up doing. I ended up coming for a week to the office, then it was 2 weeks, and it was a whole thing before I started moving into my new varsity. So, and they started asking me, are you going to go back to school? Why not work with us, ask for a job with us and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that because of any special talent that I had. It was just showing up and making sure that other people are having a good time. And another thing that we ended up doing in our varsity as a group of friends, right? We're in engineering, mechanical. We went to a factory in Pretoria where they manufacture different types of things. Shout out to Pramroso and Proffesional Engineering. This is not a sponsorship or anything like that, just giving love, right? We went to them, we found them on the internet, on LinkedIn. Hey, they're doing good stuff. We went to them, to their factory. We saw all of the things that they were doing. We looked at what a factory is like. Now you need to remember, some of us come from backgrounds where we have never seen an office. We have never been to an office park. We have never been to a business park or a factory or anything like that. So as soon as you start networking and doing things like that, now by going to that factory, they said, okay, what are you guys doing? This degree. Oh, okay, that's nice. Yeah, that's cool. If you have any openings, put your CV here, and we get in contact, and maybe you might work for us. We might pay you at different rates or something like that. Anything that you can do right now to get your foot in, do it. Because as you know, in South Africa right now, there's a big unemployment gap. Now that could be as a result of jobs not being there, but you want to think of yourself as someone who offers value. If a job is not there, you create it. And you can do that by networking. Let's get into the third one. So actually, it's the fourth one. I'm new at this YouTube thing, so forgive me. So the fourth one is you need to save. I can't repeat this enough. Save, guys. You really need to save. Why do I say you really need to save? Now remember, we are doing these things of going to factories, going to business parks, calling people, meeting them for coffee, while socially distancing and keeping safe, of course, or Skyping them or anything like that. And those things need money. And also, remember, you are going back home after varsity. So you can't be out here making it rain, right? You need to save. Why? Because when you go back home, you might need data. So you might want to invest in an unlimited internet plan, so you can start doing your networking much easier because you have money for data. Now we know data is expensive, but there are different types of things that that you can do. I started saving up for my internet plan while I was in varsity, right? And I started using services like Rain. This is not a sponsorship. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but I checked the signal in my hometown and I saw, okay, it works and it's much cheaper than buying data bundles, and it allowed me to keep on applying and doing things like that, right? So remember, we're sharing things that we've already experienced here. So save up for those things. And another thing that you also need to consider is that you might be required to relocate, right? You might be, which what's happened to me, but I won't share the details. You might be required to relocate and move into a different province, a different country, or a different city altogether. And you might need things like accommodation, getting a deposit for an apartment. Hey, you are adults now, so you need to start thinking about these things. Deposits, moving stuff, your first batch of groceries, going to places because as restrictions are easing up and tightening up, maybe sometime it might be a video interview and you actually need to have data, a good internet connection in order to present yourself professionally. But sometimes they might say go to that office park and you need to catch 3 taxis going there, and plus you also need to have scuffed. So instead of blowing your money right now in varsity, have a bit of money saved up in a different account so that when those opportunities come, you are ready, you're there, and you're ready to pounce on those opportunities, you know. So save up on those things. It could be for a license, because some jobs actually require you to have something and drive. So save. But now the last tip is a bit of a contradiction to what I'm saying, but there are ways in which you can do it. So let's get into it. Now here, I really want you to change your identity and your horizons as well. As we know, sometimes we can get into the habit of doing the very same thing, especially now since we're studying at home, or we're studying in our res rooms and it's online. We get into the same routine: wake up, laptop, class, sleep, cook. You know, it's the very same thing that you're doing all the time, and it gets hectic, especially now at this tricky time that we're living in. Now, you remember in the fourth tip I said that you should save. In the last tip, I want you to have different types of experiences. Change the person that you were in first year, second year. Maybe if you're a person that you were out here, you know, clubbing and stuff like that, maybe those are not experiences that are conducive to the person that you want to become in the future. So maybe start going hiking. That's a very cheap thing that you can do without breaking the bank. I know 2 of my friends back in varsity that I was with, they went to hiking and they had a blast of a time, took photos. The photos are nice. Check out Oyeng Photography on Instagram for his photography on that, right? So do that. Do all of those things that are cheap but expand your mind. Some of us come from previously disadvantaged backgrounds and we never did things like abseiling, ice skating, things like that. Find out what you can get your hands on, and plus you're also a student. So since you're a student, you can get your discounts. If you produce your student card and say, I'm from UFS, I'm from a TVET college, I'm from this, I'm from that, you get a student discount. And also on your bank, you also get student discounts. So change the scenario, change what you're doing on a daily basis, reinvent yourself, so that when you go into your interview, I've been to interviews where they didn't even talk about my grades, they didn't even touch it. They looked at it and like, oh, okay, you like this subject, all right, sharp, and they put that away. But they started talking about who I am, what I'm interested in. Now you could say, hey, I went hiking, and from that experience in hiking, I learned the value of being in a team, the value of taking things slow, the value of this. It was transformative, and that's what these things are. They're very transformative, right? So I went ice skating. I learned more about not giving up and also using safety, you know, not getting cut while ice skating and stuff like that. And then they can see that, oh, this is a well-cultured person. Because another thing in getting a job or getting a bursary or going into postgrad or anything like that is that maybe it's not about your grades, your technical ability only. Maybe you also need to be a culture fit into the new company that you're going to be working for. So they might see, okay, this is a person, when you're doing team building, it's a person that might fit because they do all of these different things. So guys, don't just be out here only, right? Don't just be out here only. Invest in other things and start learning about other things. Trust me, it'll be transformative and you'll enjoy the whole process. So thank you so much, guys. If you need me to expand on any of the tips that I'll be talking about, definitely do so. Now in the next video that I'll be talking about, which will be somewhere here, somewhere in the future, is how to study effectively and keep productive while doing it on the internet. We're talking about study from home, study from res, or study from wherever you are with your laptop and your connection. So thank you so much for your time. Do the right things, like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Sharp, sharp.